You can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Another wonderful Wednesday on here on Talk Today as we invite you to be a part of the discussion. I hope and pray that you had a chance to join me start this morning for the record. Interesting things were shared. Maybe you want to continue to enlighten the rest of us who may have heard it. Not quite sure exactly what transpired. Well, it's always there on YouTube to go back. But now it's Talk Today, and we want you to share your thoughts with us, 949-8037. Or you can take the opportunity and use the floor toll-free line at 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and we want you to be a part of all that's happening as positive and productive as possible. Sometimes you're just pensive. Other times you know that you got to try to placate those people in your lives. I recognize increasingly that not just in the legal jargon or the documentation, I have more and more, even within my close circle, people pluralizing person and saying person. Well, I'm going to be vehemently opposed to that. Archaic as it is, I'm not going to say it. I don't say one people's, so I won't say two persons. But that's just another point. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. The lyrics of a song by Thermal Palace talks about, was it? I just don't care when I wear my rebel clothes. Well, or I'm careless when I wear my rebel clothes. I think it may be how the line is written. The answer is sometimes maybe don't put on your rebel clothes, but put on that level of armor that protects you as you go about trying to provide. Put on that sense of civility and that sense of caring and love and concern and compassion that we have or should have one for the other. But at the end of the day, you don't have to be taken off the sense of sensibility and sensitivity, a sense of involvement and commitment to community. Or be taken off that sense of pride that we should have in our society. How many of us have walked about the streets recently and seen that despite all the continued efforts to keep our roadways, highways and byways, dikes, and even the less frequented areas clean, that by noon after a morning session, it almost seems as if nobody was even there. If anything else, it may seem as if people have gone deliberately and dumped just because it was removed. Kind of like a person, who will vacuum up all of the debris, and then once the canister is full, then take and empty it right back on the floor, so they have something to do. Who knows? Well, what's on your mind? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. I would ask of you, sometimes it's because when we hear something, we're not quite sure that we heard it. Sometimes we need to digest it, go over it, analyze it, and consider what was said. Other times we just need to meditate, maybe have a discussion with our own sort of circle of influence. As you listen to the start this morning, as you heard the esteemed panel, what are your thoughts relative to what was shared? And more generally, what are your thoughts on where we are, not just as a region, as a world, but even as a country? Do you think restrictions between one island and the next are absolutely imperative and is what is necessary? What about extending that to movement between one district and the next? Perhaps between species, the mixing and mingling, as it were. Well, your thoughts. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. It seems increasingly that there are many who are justifiably so, perhaps, as some would share, to be more willing to anonymously share a thought because they feel a greater sense of safety. They can vent and share their thoughts, perhaps, to their minds more openly and honestly without having to be subjected to the judgment and ridicule. Not just because of who they are, what was said, but because people would look at it and read and comment. Likewise, honestly and openly, without fear or favor as to who has said it. As an example, fellows shared that after a while, they realized that him and his friend were two of the frequent commenters on particular posts in a particular platform. And it only came to pass after some time that as they talked about it, they realized, oh, wait a minute, that sounds just like this poster, 3, 4, 5. No, that sounds like poster 6, 7, 8. And then they laughed and thought, why is it that as close as they think they are, there's still some reservations about sharing their thoughts with each other? Well, maybe we're not as close to people as we think. Maybe we're more concerned about maintaining some relationship that is artificial as opposed to cementing it because we have honesty and truthfulness within it, that glue that should bond and bind. Well, it speaks to me that we're not as true to ourselves as we should, and we're not as open, accepting, nor accommodating as we should be. And it's not just a indication of tolerance, it's that the society itself looking more for conformity than it is looking for a semblance of actually moving forward together. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. In an early discussion, a lady was sharing that, because of the nature of her business and her personal choice to not travel, not out of fear of anything, not even so much of the seemingly, challenges, the unexpected expenses at times. But she was able to dispatch some of her staff, who she said, may have traveled throughout different states within the U.S., other places, and they've all come back to share that traveling abroad isn't as cumbersome as somehow within our shores that we think it is, or as complicated as we make it to leave once they get where they're going. It's almost quote-unquote smooth sailing. But there are unexpected expenses in requiring the testing to return. Even when the HR department ensures that the hotels and all the other things are properly booked and accounted for, and the PCR tests and all the other tests are in place so that people can return. Well, there were instances where not only, despite the appointments, there were challenges and unexpected expenses that for each employee could amount to a few extra $100 at that time, impacting the travel budget, as it were. But she shared that when she looks at it collectively, is it that as a world, and in particular as a small society, is there such a high level of paranoia that's permeating amongst our people that we don't seem to appreciate that not only, one breath we're being asked to live with it, but in the same token, we are responding in a way that anything that moves us forward to trying to get to that space, some of us respond not necessarily in the best way. And is that partly because of fear or we're misinformed? She shared that her grandchildren, for instance, as young as they are, and even the ones that will soon celebrate their second birthday, the ones that are still in single digits, for many of them, what they've seen and experienced for the last few years are faceless people. They're all wearing masks. That is almost the norm. What does that do? She's asking for their development. She looked, for instance, at some of the activities where, the children are assembled. They're all, sufficiently spaced apart. They're all so heavily sanitized. You would think that they just come out of a decontamination chamber after working on some, very, very, very contagious, disease or the other, or radiation exposure, and in trying to listen to the instructor, whether it's the music instructor, the coach, or otherwise, the masks make it difficult sometimes because the voice is muffled, but it also makes it difficult in terms of communication. We not only hear, but we want to see the lips and the eyes. So is there a challenge, and does that impact us later on in terms of it? So when we return, maybe we'll ask you about this seismic shift in civilization. Is it important to you? Well, give us a shout. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Families are like branches on a tree. We grow in different directions, yet our roots remain deeply intertwined as one. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, has remained stable, strong, and deeply rooted in the community. The past 2 years have been very difficult, but they have taught all of us the value of family and embracing our loved ones. This 2022, Savannah Pharmacy encourages everyone to get in touch with your roots, embrace your heritage, show some extra love to your neighbor, and make the year a memorable one. Time is precious. Cherish it and those you love. Savannah Pharmacy, always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336 or WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045.
This year's National Heroes Day ceremony takes place on Monday, 24th January. Due to COVID-19 protocols, the event is not open to the general public. All Uniformed Services Award recipients are advised that no awards will be presented on Monday. Special ceremonies will be held at a later date for Uniformed Services recipients on Grand Cayman and in Cayman Brac. Monday's National Heroes Day ceremony will air live on Radio Cayman and on CIG TV's Facebook and YouTube pages beginning at 9 a.m. The bust of the Cayman Islands' newest national hero, the Honorable Leela Ross Sher, will be unveiled along with the theme for National Heroes Day 2023. For more information, email the protocol office on nationalevents@gov.ky or call 244-1780.
How do I lose weight and keep it off?
I can't just eat salads. Have you tasted my family's rundown? And what about the turtle meat?
These are common questions I hear from people when it comes to weight loss. Learn how to lead a healthier lifestyle, the one you desire, and successfully manage your weight with my proven step-by-step process and my new book, New Shoes, A Journey of Self-Discovery.
Working with Donna has helped me create a healthier lifestyle. Old habits are are no longer a challenge. If you're looking for help in managing life, reducing weight, and maintaining a lifestyle that fits your wellness goals, Donna Mitchell is the coach you need.
New Shoes, A Journey of Self-Discovery, has been tried and tested on hundreds of participants in the Cayman Islands and is available on Amazon and Kindle. Order your copy today. Visit inspiredwithdonna.com for more details.
The 8:10 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. This year, a new rule was placed on fishing for grouper that says no one can fish for nass or grouper anywhere in Cayman from December 1st to April 30th while they're spawning. There is also no fishing allowed at all for any kinds of fish in the spawning zones, and no scuba diving there either. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad had taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for sharing with us. If I might, a good friend, she's weighed in and said a few things. Perhaps I could, share this with us. It's good things, and you can decide if it is or not to you. Let me pull the screen up close enough, and perhaps it says, says the phrase "Do not be afraid" is written in the Bible 365 times. That's a daily reminder from God to live every day being fearless. Now, I didn't count. I take it that that's probably what it is. And this other comment, says, sometimes we don't look at ourselves and we don't necessarily always appreciate who we are. We don't value your true self. But says not everyone deserves to know the real you. Let them criticize who they think you are. And it's always interesting to have many of us weigh in on their perspectives, and it's really good, It is a time, I think, where a lot of people are sort of drawn inward to look a bit of self-reflection, perhaps self-development. Sometimes out of, what a friend has shared, that sense of fear. And if the scripture talks of, references it 365 times, but for a leap year, that's as many days we normally see in our year. Well, maybe daily we can live without fear. And when you think sometimes, especially how the translations have, we see the word written, and the interpretation is fear means respect. Well, I always thought the English language was pretty pathetic at times. The word love alone is indicative of just that. The same love that, some of us have for our spouse doesn't equate to the same love we have for chocolate. But yet, others love their dogs, cats, and even lizards more. So this one reminds us in Philippians 4:7 says, the peace of God which transcends all understanding will guard your hearts and minds. The question is, though, to what extent, as we look at what is before us, are we paying attention to what maybe has gone before, has fallen in our path, and to what extent are we doing something to make it better? We look at, and I say this hopefully with the utmost respect as I intend, we look at the last year and a bit and the loved ones that we've laid to rest. There was a time when even if it was just some weeks after the fact, we would know that people have passed because of the way things existed. And now you don't know, not because you're busy, because for some reason the way the information is or isn't shared, the disconnect within the community, the inability sometimes of the community to assemble to pay our respects, not just then but at birth, at weddings, at other celebrations, graduations. And we're asking ourselves, is this because it's sensible? Is it because it's safe? And chances are the answer is yes. But is it when it's questioned? What is the response from those closest to us? The response from those in authority? And when a question is asked by someone who otherwise up until that point was seen as sensible, as well-grounded and adjusted, whether it's a teacher in the education system or someone in administration, whether it's a parent or one of our otherwise respected and revered co-workers, whether it's a politician, whether it's a person through the profession, a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or otherwise, just ask a question. How is the response to that question? Is the person labeled in the mind, castigated, and ostracized? Or is the person looked at and say, whoa, didn't think about that. That's something to consider. Even if it's just a question, think about it this way. Have you ever taken a class, and in the class, someone asks, well, what if you did that? Or if you didn't do that, what would happen? And depending on the class, you might be able to test it and experiment. For some of us, we enjoyed physics in particular, science in school, because if you had a teacher like, for instance, Johnny Gray, sometimes he would have some fun as a middle school teacher. Sometimes you had some other teachers who really weren't as interested in getting the child's mind to really, really embrace and become excited about science. So you ask a question and they would look down at their, what that would be probably called by some of us today, their class schedule, their, plan of action for the day, and that wasn't there, so they can't deviate from what was there. They need to get through the curriculum. They need to make sure that they crossed all of their little bullet points off of their to-do list, as it were. But here's a little Johnny or little Susie asking a question. If we combine that powder with that powder, well, what would happen? Would it cause an explosion? Would it just be smoke and mirrors? Would it one cancel the other and then make it inert? Sometimes it's sad to say, as adults and even as educators, we don't know. We never asked the question. We lost the inquisitive, inquiring mind, of a scholar, of a child. Their curiosity sometimes, that inquisitive approach is what sometimes propels us and creates greater and greater advances and discoveries. Now, is that the same thing that's happening today? Like sheep being led to slaughter, we quickly assemble and one after the other seeing what goes before. Now, think about some of us. We just went through Christmas. Maybe as children we were, allowed to go with our parents to get the beef, to watch the cow, as it were, ready for, it's sacrifice, to put it that way. If you ever had more than one, and one saw what happened to the one just before, it didn't stand around. If you had a different experience, let me know. But more than likely, if you took two, the second one usually would bolt, if it could, after it saw what happened to the first. Now, sheep, like many of us these days, don't seem to act that way. We go, oh, that happened to you. Let me see if that happened to me. Oh, that happened to you. Let me see if that happened to me. And one by one. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. So let me then ask you, in addition to what was shared earlier, had a lady in the presentation, and some were almost getting back to their normal space, and they were asking the question, how is it that everything that was going quiet relative to the politics, the societal commentary, the ideas of people wanting to chart his own course, define his own destiny, and act with a sense of independence, political, economic, and otherwise. And so one of the fellows in the group said, we look at the Cayman context. At one time, it was celebrated as a gem of the Caribbean. It was a success story. How many of us can, look back and know that, yes, there might have been a bit of land ownership amongst the family, some of which was developed and brought great wealth. But even now, when the family still has some land or sold it, but no great wealth and riches came as a result of its sale or development, but the family enjoys a semblance of wealth, but not just financial wealth, intellectual wealth, and societal wealth in terms of being respected and looked and admired at an industrious people. And where is that ethos amongst us? So we travel to far land and then we return at some point, maybe as the children or the grandchildren of that union that made that first voyage, as it were. Now, two things the fellow emphasized. The first was that if you talk in the 20s, the 30s, and even the 40s, sometimes that ability to leave these shores weren't always safe passage. It weren't always something that was easy necessarily to do. Even if you made it there safely, getting there could have been a bit of a challenge. Then beyond that, you applied yourself, you had a level of success, you saw the opportunities. But not everybody left, and some that left didn't stay long, they returned. And here we are now in a society, and if our history, oral as well as the recording somewhat inaccurately presented, tells us that there is this resolve and resilience within the people. Now, do we now take that and move forward? So the question that was posed, and let me ask you as we go into the break, if you wish to weigh in and share with us after, should Cayman now look at that? Not just becoming a republic, but a much more independent nation, autonomous, or should we integrate more greatly within the UK, become part of it, as it were? Well, tell you what was shared if you would share with me. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Freedom, Cayman Rack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Families are like branches on a tree. We grow in different directions, yet our roots remain deeply intertwined as one. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, has remained stable, strong, and deeply rooted in the community. The past 2 years have been very difficult, but they have taught all of us the value of family and embracing our loved ones. This 2022, Savannah Pharmacy encourages everyone to get in touch with your roots, embrace your heritage, show some extra love to your neighbor, and make the year a memorable one. Time is precious. Cherish it and those you love. Savannah Pharmacy, always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336 or WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vamp Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrid save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in a hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR Hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons.
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vamp Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks so much for sharing with us. 949-8037, 949-6990. Those are 2 options. Toll free with the compliments of floor provides another. 1-800-534-8255. And of course, the WhatsApp is there if you wish to record a voice note or you want to send us something to read on your behalf. 925-3261. Either way, we're happy to do it and be a part of this discussion. We invite you to share. But as we went into the break, I was asked last evening to maybe ask of our listeners. There was a much ado, it seems, about nothing, if that's where it takes us. In recent times, talking about moving forward politically. I did share sometimes, and it's not intended to be a view that I hold as if it's the only view. But the question that I've always asked, is there such a thing as a truly independent nation? They say no man is an island. Is there such a thing that one country can do, supply, support, provide for itself completely? All of the employment, all of the financing that it needs, all of the resources. Now, I said that there are interdependence, economic, but also political. We sow the seed of social harmony by causing people to be able to engage with others within their communities and sometimes across the globe. Families may find that they have a call and a yearn to travel, over great expanse of land in order to discover just something that is within them. The question is, if we have this body, this country that is independent, now do we say they're insular? Is it that their political independence truly, what they say it is? Or is it that, take some alliances, whether it's NATO or whether it's an economic alliance, or whether it is the idea that what was the European Economic Community that eventually became the EU, that is now whatever it is. How many still castigate the British for what some would say was absolute wisdom, to trying to regain a semblance of its own autonomy, to not abdicate so much of its sovereignty? Others would say, well, that was foolish because economically they lose. It's taken away from peoples to move and interact. But then what about within the UK itself? Or where does Scotland fit in? Does it want to demonstrate a greater sense of autonomy? Does it want its own independence? Does it want to be able to have a greater say in how it should, manage its own affairs, its own resources, its interaction with the rest of Europe and by extension the globe? Well, if you live there and affected by it, your views might be much different than the armchair commentator. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, it's good to hear from you. How have you been?
I'm fine.
Glad to hear that, man. All the best to you.
All the best to you too. Dwayne, we now almost finished a first year from the life of this government, and we, so far, mostly we're satisfied with a lot of things happening. I think the Premier doing a great job. The ministers, not all doing a great job, but mostly 90% of them are doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Only I see reality. My good friend Kenneth Bryan is all his interest is in the media and to promote himself and to promote fame, and we want to see some achievement. I look, for example, at Minister of Agriculture, Northside MLA. I think we can see good achievement in the ground. We have things we can see in our own eyes that the district of Northside have some improvement. There is things happening, and there is things in the plan to be happening. And we need to see the result of 1 year in the ground. The Minister of Tourism responsible about the public bus transport system.
Mm-hmm.
In your program, he promised us to solve the problem of the bus system. Until today, 1 year, he get elected 1 year now.
Well, let me ask you, because I like your insight. How would you propose to him? What is your advice to him, his ministry, and his government, that they solve that public bus transport system? What do they do? What's the solution to solve it?
I think the government itself,
Mm-hmm.
like in Jamaica and Bahamas, in England even, I think the government run a bus system.
Mm-hmm.
Bus system run by government.
So that's the
We
public
have a
aspect of the
department,
right. Okay.
Department of Public Transport.
Mm-hmm.
This Department of Public Transport also manage this bus system.
Mm-hmm.
Government can afford buy 10 buses, 20 buses, and run them officially.
So if government does that, takes it over, and they buy however many buses or whatever they use, what happens to those that exist there? Those private individuals that
they're not those private individuals. They are taking it for joke. They are putting some bad drivers to drive in the public road.
Right. No, I understand your concern.
The owner of the bus.
Uh-huh.
His driver people being complaining about the driver many times.
Right. No. If I might ask you. If I might ask you, I understand your allegations and your concerns, but if you were to take what you shared, so the government takes it over, whether they contract it to someone or they run it themselves. So it's a public transport system like you see in other jurisdictions, as you've mentioned. What I'm asking now, we have already individuals in the system, whether they own the buses themselves, whether they have hired drivers to run the buses. What happens to those buses and those operators, those drivers and those owners? What happens now to those people?
I think we have to sort out the good people from the bad ones.
Okay, how do we do that?
And I think it's simple. People already complain. There is thousands of complaints. I can tell you, at least in the computer of the public bus transport system, from what I hear from inspector, which I don't want to say his name.
No, fair enough. But
that in their computer, over 800 complain in those computer being logged on and the same names of the 5 drivers. Some of them go east end, should be going east end, and some of them north side, and some to West Bay. Those drivers are a lot of complaints against them. The director of public transport don't do anything. The inspectors can't do without the instruction of the director. The director is know the problems, and he don't have any solution. He don't know how this public transport being run.
Right. So let me ask you. Right.
He is sitting there, not running or not doing his job properly.
Okay. So
the board.
Yes.
I blame the board.
Okay.
The board reached to him, to that board, many complaints about the same drivers, and they are not taking action against them.
Okay, so let me ask you then, because you just listed out, you have the inspector, and then you have the director, and then you have the board, and then presumably. So in there, if action isn't being taken, the inspector, let's start where you started first, says, can't do anything with the director. So the chain of command, the bureaucracy, the hierarchy, the organizational structure, as it were. Is it then that somewhere down the line, someone somewhere, and let's start at the top of the food chain, is it because that isn't being communicated as a message as to what's happening? I mean, why is it, as you allege, that the director isn't doing anything, or the board or whatever? I mean, why is there that breakdown and the lack of enforcement, oversight, and action?
First, Dwayne, you ask about solution. The number one, you have to give the inspectors of public transport the power of a police officer to give a ticket. That the inspector have the power to give the bus driver a ticket for not complying with the laws.
Okay.
Two, the second thing, they need to bring tracking device, so every bus leave the depot, there's computer there. They see where he reach, if he reached to his destination or not. If he don't reach, he get a ticket. And it's easy to put a tracking device in the bus to know which destination he going. When they leave Georgetown, they have to reach East End. If there is a station in East End, like you go to, for example, if they don't want to use device, they can use this card. You stamp, you put your, every driver have his own password. When he reach East End, he stamp his card, and when he come to Georgetown, in the end of the day, he have to give this card to the transport booth, the one in Georgetown, in the end of the day. So that's a solution. The third one I blame for all of this is the minister and the governor and the government, because they need to find a solution. It is this problem for many years. It continue. It's not. The inspector the other day was by Fancy Tanks. People are complaining to him, and he understands. He said, yes, I know there is a problem and we need to find a solution. But he don't have authority to solve the problem. The one who have authority to solve it is the director, and the director is not doing his job. Director of public transport not doing his job. And you come to the booth to talk to this lady inspector. She's sleeping in Saturday, sleeping in the booth, snoring.
But I mean,
how that can be right?
It's interesting. I mean, without question, you have been very, very diligent, certainly very consistent, and sharing your concerns. And maybe it isn't as you share it, maybe it isn't as others are counted, but maybe there's an issue that needs to be addressed. Thank you for continually weighing in. If you would, allow us to pause and take our news break. We have guests to chat with briefly after we return for half an hour or so to share with you the good things that happen on Meals on Wheels. And then we'd have some open line, I think, after that for the hour, the remaining. So let's get into the discussions. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's spread the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
New rules. Starting today, the length of time folks have to quarantine after testing positive have shortened. Vaccinated cases will isolate for 6 days and become eligible for an exit PCR test on day 7. If you haven't gotten the jab but you test positive, you will have to isolate for 9 days, becoming eligible for an exit PCR test on day 10. In international news, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson defied calls to resign in a face-to-performance Wednesday in Parliament, but it may be too little to prevent a push by his Conservative Party's lawmakers to oust him over a series of lockdown-flouting government parties. Pressure on the Prime Minister grew as one Conservative lawmaker defected to the opposition Labour Party, and a former Conservative cabinet minister told him, "In the name of God, go." U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken urged Western nations on Wednesday to remain united in the face of what he called relentless Russian aggression against Ukraine and reassured Ukraine's leader of their support while calling for Ukrainians to stand strong. Blinken told the Ukrainian Prime Minister that the U.S. and its allies were steadfast in backing his country and its democratic aspirations amid growing fears of a potentially imminent Russian invasion. And the number of new coronavirus cases globally rose by 20% last week to more than 18 million, marking a slowdown in the surge caused by the Omicron variant's spread. That according to the World Health Organization. In its weekly report on the pandemic, the UN Health Agency said the number of new COVID-19 infections increased in every world region except for Africa, where cases fell by nearly a third. The number of deaths globally remained similar to the previous week at about 45,000. Those are your latest headlines. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Do you have a uniform officer in your life?
Yeah, my mama, she immigration officer.
You mean CBC?
Yeah, that.
Well, that's the theme for Heroes Day, uniformed officers.
The days are hard, the nights are long, but you still put the uniform on.
This week on The Flex, we'll be having the Minister of Home Affairs on Youth Flex talking about National Heroes Day.
Do you have any heroes in your life?
We could be heroes.
On Monday, January 24th, 2022, Heroes Day will be taking place at Hero Square in Georgetown.
Rocket, we going to see you on that parade?
I'll be there in spirit.
Returning to work.
You can join us this Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. right here on Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM. YouFlex, a program for all people, by young people. YouFlex, more than talk.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm very glad that, through that bridge that we always build and extend us to many good paths, we're able to at times find a way into the studio. And now the general manager over at the Meals on Wheels, Miss Jennifer L. West. L must be, not just for learned, but for, so many good things that permeate society. So good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. And that L, yes, it's a very important part of my name. Jennifer is a very common first name, and West is kind of, people like, that's it, just West.
Yeah, just
so my
West.
middle name is the name that I most cherish. It's Lenora. So it's the only one that's a bit unique. So that L must remain.
You know, thank you for that, because what's in a name, right? You know, our parents christen us with certain things, and you know, we look at. For me, you know, of all of the U.S. Surgeon Generals, C. Everett Koop,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, right? And yet there are times when we don't appreciate how we should cherish that name and preserve it for posterity, pass it along, right? And it's interesting that a lot of the young children now that are being birthed, they're taking on names that we thought became, you know, antiquated, or
Yes.
names that our grandparents had. But they're timeless.
They're back in style.
They're timeless, you know. So yours likewise.
Thank
so I like
you.
the Jennifer L.S.
Thank you.
It reminds me of, you know. Anyway, let me not say that. 'Cause for a second there, I may forget there's more than you and I who are talking. Others may be listening. Did he just say that? Yeah, he did. It's like what I say. The AMC is a good thing to be.
Gotta be careful.
Now, when we look at the strength of our communities and we see volunteers, we see benefactors, whether the individual or the corporate, we see people responding kindly, lovingly, right, to what is a need and a recognition of something that the society, you know, should do. So through your efforts, you know, and your entire team, but also your volunteers, you provide something that is invaluable. So I commend you for that. But it won't happen without the time of people, their treasure, and their talent, organizational or otherwise, right?
Absolutely.
So Meals on Wheels has been around for a bit. You guys
This
been doing
year
great
we are
stuff.
celebrating 25 years of service in the Cayman Islands,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
And unfortunately, in a sense, the need keeps growing and growing, despite what seemingly is a prosperity within our people and our shores. There are more of us who find it harder, and the last 2 years didn't make it any easier.
That is absolutely true. Unfortunately, the demand for service for Meals on Wheels just continues to grow.
Mm-hmm.
We are not serving as many people as we were during lockdown last year, but we are still operating way above what we had ever estimated or budgeted for. So on a daily basis, we have 30 volunteers distributing 350 meals across the 5 districts of Cayman, Grand Cayman only, which is a staggering number for a community like ours. And unfortunately, some people find themselves in a position where they have elderly parents that they are not able to provide for because they themselves are struggling. We have a lot of seniors that are on their own. And some seniors are simply left alone all day because there is no caregiver that stays with them and family comes into town to work. So the service that we provide, you know, we tell people we deliver a hot meal and a warm smile because our volunteers are essential to our service. There's only 3 of us that work at Meals on Wheels, and the other 150 people that make it happen are all volunteers on a weekly basis. And it's incredible what that little visit in the middle of the day does to someone who's been home alone. That's their connection. So isolation, loneliness, depression is real. We hear a lot about mental health now in our younger generation, but it's not something that our seniors are not facing as well. So this service providers is definitely essential and unfortunately a growing need.
Yeah. I mean, when we go to church and we hear the term the shut-ins, right? And for some reason, excuse me, maybe I should want to start talking when I come on here, not so much before. But for some reason, right, we don't understand the significance. You talk about the isolation, that social isolation. And I see this understanding that, you know, people like Dr. Lockhart, you know, as a psychiatrist, but also in his capacity as serving in the Mental Health Commission, and they're like, understanding that we need as people to interaction. And so when I share that what has been happening across the globe in the last 2 years has affected all of us in a way, the inability to interact. And when we do, what are we doing to make sure that we're sensible, we're sensitive, we're, you know, trying to do things to keep each other safe without necessarily, you know, understanding the implications. And when people are, you know, socially distant, that phrase, like a few increasing, are just irritating. I can be physically distant, still socialize with you. I can still be physically distant and create, you know, other issues. Right? So that warm smile with that hot meal makes a big difference, huh?
Absolutely, because the other thing is most of us, we are connected at the tip of our fingers all day long.
Oh my gosh.
We have cell phones, we have WhatsApp, we have internet. Our seniors are not necessarily plugged in online. So thanks to the Compass, we deliver the newspaper every week. Most of our seniors love the radio, and honestly, some didn't even have a radio, so they weren't even kind of getting into these shows. And thanks to our Santa for Seniors Christmas Giving and some hurricane supply kits that were handed out last year, we're really trying to get our seniors in a place where we can always have connection with them, or they're at least having some contact with the outside world, because we are kind of oblivious, I think, to the fact, what if you didn't have your phone? What if you didn't have your computer? How would you really keep up with what's going on?
And that's the thing, and I'm glad you referenced the radio. I mean, there's tip now over the HSA, the community health aspect in terms of psychiatry and the like, had an appeal. Now, how many of us actually have a radio, right?
Not many.
We have the ability to get radio, but we're connected to some digital device that we have, right? Now, even if we have that digital device, is that the same thing as physical interaction? You can see the person, you can talk to the person, that's great. But for some of us, we want that physical, face-to-face interaction. And for our seniors who, this thing is a nice gadget, it's fun, but it doesn't replace, swinging in a hammock in the backyard, talking about the good old days, right?
Exactly.
Or gossiping about the stuff that happens. We won't say that.
We don't gossip. We just talk about what's really happening in the community.
There we go. We share information. But I'm hoping that as we listen to that there are ways, if you wish, for us as volunteers to get a perspective, how we can come on board, to share our time, what is required of us,
Okay.
So share with us, man.
All right. Well, there's lots of ways to get involved with Meals on Wheels, and one of the things that we have coming up is actually our biggest volunteer need for the year. And that is our annual Change for Change coin drive, where we are looking for over 300 volunteers. At this point, we have 53% of the volunteers that we need, so we still have quite a ways to go in order to get all the spaces filled. Now, this event, it's quite an undertaking. In 2020, we had to cancel the event. Last year, we were able to hold it, and it was record-breaking. We raised over $60,000 in mostly coins. So there was a lot of counting to be done. And as the board chairman likes to quote, he said, we like the ones that jangle, but please give us the ones that fold. So we, dollar bills, checks, we take it all.
It's got to be Rob.
It's got to be Rob, yeah. Sadly, he's not with us in studio today, but I definitely quote him all the time on that.
We can channel to Rob. I saw him the other day at the supermarket, but I'll leave that alone for now.
Yeah, so anybody who has 2 hours of their time on Friday, the 28th of January, or Saturday, the 29th of January, it doesn't matter how old you are. Kids last year, I think they were the ones that really racked up the most. Who can say no to such a cute little face?
Aw,
we had you too, sir. Don't worry. We had children. I think our youngest volunteer was 4 and our oldest volunteer was 74.
Wow.
So we had the John Gray Key Club. We had companies, Soul, Petroleum. So really the entire community gets behind this event. And unfortunately, because we have such a growing need, we also have a wait list of seniors. So we have to continue to raise funds in order to sustain the seniors that we do have on our list. But every day we're getting more and more referrals still. So unless we have additional funds coming in to cover those needs, then we have to continue with the waiting list. Now, the good thing is it only costs $5 a day to support a senior. So you can volunteer if you don't have time, but you can pledge to provide meals for a senior. You can do that. $25 for the week, $110 for the month, or $1,300 for the entire year. We'll make sure that a senior has a hot meal and a warm smile every day. And beyond just delivering those meals, what we've been doing is also we make sure it is impossible to just deliver a meal and not realize that there are other needs in place. So it's been good to work alongside other organizations. The Lions Club, Boys to Men have helped out, Key Club. And what we're doing is when a senior has a need outside of the meals, we don't have the manpower to actually go and fix a house or fix a roof or replace a door. But the entire community, everyone is gifted with something. Yeah. Everybody has a few minutes to do something that they really like. So we've been partnering with as much as possible to make sure that other needs are filled. I mean, last year it was really heartbreaking. Hurricane season is coming and we're scrabbling to make sure people have doors and windows. And that is such a basic thing. But unfortunately, a lot of our seniors are living in conditions that we would not expect. So outside of volunteering for the coin drive, we need volunteers who are available. Those people who are working in isolation right now from home, or working from home, not in isolation, are the ideal candidates to give us 1 hour of their time each week. We are obviously delivering to some of our most vulnerable citizens. So we have to take extra precautions in our interactions. So even on a day-to-day basis, our staff, we kind of make sure that we are above and beyond careful with our interactions out and about. And we ask the same thing of our volunteers. So safety of our seniors continues to be our number one priority. So anybody who continues to maintain their social distance and they're maybe home, working from home, and is able to give an hour of their time each week to go deliver meals. There are socially distanced deliveries, and we have very far away conversations. But it really is life-changing for those seniors to have those interactions.
Indeed. Well, when we come back from the break, share with us some more and locations. How do we, as volunteers, come on board? I mean, you're 53% of the way. We need to get the rest of us on board.
We'll get there.
All right, stay tuned and rejoin us after the break.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Through several accounts, the first blacks to make Cayman home were runaway slaves from Cuba called Barba and Mateo, and they settled at Watering Place on the island's northern shore. The former is also commemorated in the name of Barber's Well. This well was said to be very deep and have no bottom. Barba and Mateo are said to have been adopted by Robert Scott and one of the Riches, changing their names to Ben Scott and Thomas Matthias Rich, and later were known as Old Daddy Ben and Old Dick. Although legend also has it that when the first whites came to Cayman Brac, they found a slave already living on the island who had run away from Grand Cayman.
Information from this historical vignette was sourced from Founded Upon the Seas, A History of the Cayman Islands and Their People by Michael Creighton and the New History Committee.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Families are like branches on a tree. We grow in different directions, yet our roots remain deeply intertwined as one. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, has remained stable, strong, and deeply rooted in the community. The past 2 years have been very difficult, but they have taught all of us the value of family and embracing our loved ones. This 2022, Savannah Pharmacy encourages everyone to get in touch with your roots, embrace your heritage, show some extra love to your neighbor, and make the year a memorable one. Time is precious. Cherish it and those you love. Savannah Pharmacy, always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336 or WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And we have the opportunity now to share with you, an opportunity for you to draw alongside Meals on Wheels and through their general manager, Jennifer L. West. I like when we ensure that our names, are such that people appreciate it. We take ownership, and you and your team do great. Just the idea of Meals on Wheels, Mountain and Muhammad sometimes must, unite. One comes to the other goes to the one.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So this, what today is? I think it's a Wednesday, and the calendar says it's a particular day. So next weekend, right?
That's next
Friday
weekend.
and Saturday. So we still got almost a week and a half-ish to get on board. How do we sign up to be part of the coin drive? How do we get information, instructions, training, and resources?
All right, it's really easy to volunteer for the coin drive. So you can log on to our website, www.mealsonwheels.ky, and under events, you'll see the big tab, and it'll give you an information flyer, and you click on that, and it takes you to a sign-up page. All you do is you look at the locations, and we're going to be at all the Foster's supermarkets, Hurley's, Kirk Market, A.L. Thompson, Cafe del Sol, Atlantic Kids, A.A. Rubis in Red Bay, Cayman National, Credit Union, Butterfield, Cost You Less, Camana Bay, and then there will also be bucket stations at different locations like Book Nook around the island. So you choose what location and what time works best for you. Obviously, if a spot is already taken because somebody did it first and wasn't on island time, then you have to look for a different spot. But you choose a location that's closest and most convenient for you in a time that works for you. You'll get a confirmation email, and then we'll also email you afterwards to send out information about picking up your bucket, your stickers, and your volunteer shirt. Because around the island, you'll see all the volunteers out in their official Meals on Wheels shirt so that you know you're not handing a donation over to someone who is not a part of the coin drive. And it's really that simple. You 2 hours and you're interacting socially distanced and very carefully with the public. Everyone will be wearing a mask this year. But you can still smile under that mask. We're still delivering with smiles, even though you can only see it in your eyes. So if you're on Facebook or Instagram, again, there's a direct link on our social media pages. But it is super simple. You don't have to register for an account. You just put in your name, your email, and your phone number so that the confirmations and all the other details can be emailed to you about picking up packets and then dropping off as well.
So if you decide for whatever reason that you want a particular 2-hour time slot at a particular location, but that's already taken by somebody, you look at a response saying, hey, that's taken.
It actually won't let you sign up for it. It won't let you even
better.
sign up for it. Now, if there's really a location that you have to be at and you signed up late, you can give us a call, 769-1974 or 546-8886, and we will see if we can reach out to the person who has taken that spot and see if they would be willing to shift and to see how we can help. But go ahead and register early. So that you get the spot that you want.
And you're looking at just a 2-hour commitment from someone.
It's 2 hours.
You've referenced, and it was seen like almost the entire, Grand Cayman you're trying to cover. So that would be nice. But what sort of hours, between when you want to start and when you want to?
Shifts start at 8 a.m. So Friday morning, 8 a.m. If you're going to grab your coffee at Cafe del Sol or at Foster's, you'll see some volunteers out there. And then we're going to be wrapping up at 6 p.m. at those locations as well. The bank locations will obviously close earlier, only on a Friday. And then the supermarkets were there all day long. So you'll see volunteers coming and going every 2 hours.
So some of the businesses, like the supermarkets, we know, close beyond 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Would you have, if a volunteer wanted to say, listen, I'll do, place closes at 9, I'll do 7 to 9. They close at 10, I'll do 8 to 10.
As long as the volunteer communicates to us ahead of time so we can have it registered and know who is out there still, because we do have directors and volunteers also doing rounds, helping to collect buckets and just check to make sure that everybody's okay and that people are showing up for their shifts. The other thing that people can do, obviously right now not everybody is out and about and not everybody handles money. You can donate online. You can donate online directly through Meals on Wheels at Butterfield Direct Pay. Or you can go to our pledgeasenior.com website and you can either choose to make a general donation, or you can actually register to pledge a senior to either feed a senior for a day, a week, a month, or an entire year. So that is also a way to give back to the coin drive without having to be out and about, or if you don't have cash on you. No excuses.
And this is it. I think many of us are very charitable. Many of us have decided that instead of buying something for ourselves, we'll do it for somebody else. Or if we can buy for ourselves, we'll buy as well for somebody else for different reasons.
Yes.
And that level of community engagement is very commendable. But we have this growing need, whatever the reasons. But I think what you've emphasized, I think many of us need to appreciate, this isn't just that you're providing this meal. There is a person, every day, or every working day, a weekday, I guess it is. I work every day. Might get me asking. That making a physical contact with someone, and that in itself is invaluable. Now, for the volunteers, they get much more in return, and it's a commitment, a sacrifice, but it's a sense of just a honest, good feeling that we get from within.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I really enjoy seeing is when we bridge an age gap, when we see our younger Caymanians, or whether it's an expat, whoever it is, taking care of a senior. I think it's not necessarily our culture to really respect and honor and care for our seniors the way we see in other countries. And
we used to at one time.
We used to, but unfortunately, I think we've shifted away from that. And this volunteering really allows us to see that connection and the importance of it. And honestly, the interaction with younger people gives our seniors, I think, a little bit more life, a little bit more energy. Our seniors, like, I love our Caymanian seniors. They tell you how it is. I can't wait to be old. So they say what they want when they want. They are spunky, they are sassy, and we absolutely love it. And so we like to be able to honor and cherish them. So anybody who says, oh, I don't really work well with seniors, or I've never done it before, you don't have to have experience. What you have to have is the desire to help someone who has already given their part to society and is in a position where they are now not necessarily, it's not a charitable gift to them that we're giving them. We are simply helping them fill a need in the middle of the day. Some of our seniors are not physically able to get up and prepare a meal, or they've prepared enough meals all their life for grandkids, children, everybody else. It is now our time to say to them, we honor you. Thank you for what you have done for us. And,
And the thing is, they may prepare another meal or two, but sometimes you just want a break, but we need to eat.
Well, for a lot of our seniors, this is actually the only hot meal that they get.
That's it. And some of them will probably, because they don't eat maybe as much as they, so that one meal maybe split into 2 or 3 servings. You just never know. But at least they have in 2 things, the hot meal and someone physically, in addition to and everybody else who may check out.
Absolutely.
Getting at least one person checking on it for sure. Think of it this way, pay it forward.
Exactly.
Later on in life, you may not necessarily be the recipient of someone bringing you a hot meal, but you might. But you may be the recipient of someone saying, what are you doing today? You want to go fishing? You want to come play a game of dominoes?
Absolutely.
Let's come shoot the breeze. You invest in the safety and the security and stability of your society by doing this.
And one of the things we're facing right now that I don't think anybody has faced in our lifetime is the fact that we are serving seniors who are in isolation. So we're also getting these urgent referrals. So one of the things we are also having to do is we feel the need for volunteers, because unfortunately we need to have a substitute volunteer drive. So as people travel, as people get sick, as people return home because they're, without employment, we understand that we are asking people to give in a time when so many people themselves are struggling. So a lot of people are in a position where they would want to help, but they cannot.
I think this is,
So we definitely, whether it's to volunteer, or you come and you give $5 to help provide for a senior. Some seniors, we only have them on our list for the few weeks when they're in quarantine themselves. Unfortunately, it is affecting our seniors. So many are at home and they kind of go, well, I only had somebody coming and going, visiting or cleaning, and now I have COVID. And this is just the reality of what we face. But even through the pandemic last year, the lockdown, Meals on Wheels delivers 52 weeks a year. We have not taken a break. We are exhausted. But this is what we do, and we cannot do it without our volunteers. We cannot do it without our sponsors. This coin drive is sponsored by Davenport. I think they have done it every single year. So the shirts, the buckets, the masks are all sponsored, so that every single penny that comes in from this event is going right back into providing the meals for our seniors.
No, you do it, every week with understanding. There's some holidays, Mondays in particular. You still deliver on public holidays?
Well, what we do on public holidays and long weekends is we provide grocery bags, because unfortunately, with a small staff and volunteers themselves looking for a break, we don't have enough manpower to provide 320 meals on a holiday. So for long weekends, we provide grocery bags. And thankfully, our shelves had been bare for a few months. After hurricane season, we were kind of wiped clean. And we had a few schools, CCC, First Baptist, and CIS. They did food drives over the holidays. And our pantries were bursting at the seams. So now with this long weekend coming up for Heroes Day, and then with Easter, we'll have groceries, and then we'll top up with fresh fruits and such, so that everybody has access to food, even if we're not delivering a meal on that day.
And this year we got an extra long Friday holiday weekend again,
Yes, we do.
Queen sits on her throne. We may get one again next year. I never know. Life is good about laughter. I know you have much to get back to, but we want to give you, as we close the discussion, an opportunity to either remind us, to recap, to share if you wish.
Okay. So our Change for Change coin drive is coming up next weekend, Friday and Saturday, the 28th and 29th of January. We are still looking for volunteers to take 2-hour spots at a location of your choice, island-wide. And any age can assist. As long as you can smile under a mask and hold a bucket and stand up and interact, then you are able to attend. Or if you are willing to volunteer to deliver meals on a daily, once a week, Monday through Friday, we're looking for volunteers to go and deliver meals to our seniors, and that is a need in all 5 districts of Grand Cayman. And we have other events that we hopefully are going to be able to host this year. We'll kind of take it in stride and see how things are going. But you can mark your calendars for our gala, which is going to be in May. We are celebrating 25 years this year, so we're going to have some events coming up. We always have our Seniors Rock Dress Down Day in September, so Rock Orange. We had a great little event this year. We sold out of our shirts. And then we have our Turkey Trot, which we like to say, come run, come walk, or waddle. So it's our 5K, 10K. So those are our 4 major fundraisers that we do each year for Meals on Wheels. And besides those, people can do Pledge a Senior, make general donations, because that is really the only way that we can provide our service to the community, is thanks to the generosity of sponsors like Davenport, with individuals and churches and other organizations who support our cause and support our seniors.
Well, I certainly appreciate you and the staff and all the volunteers for sharing. And for those who, let's say 10 people give $5 each, that's not just $5. It's compounded, exactly. It's adding together, So your 5 may be 5 million, but you give what you can, you give what you want willingly. Together it makes an impact. But thanks very much. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we know next weekend, you know what to do, how to sign up. And if you need a reminder, well, there's a website you can check, mealsonwheels.ky. Or you can call, us here, and we'll probably tell you as well.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to pause and take a break, and when we come back, we want you to join us as we talk about things. You help me to understand what shit. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
How do I lose weight and keep it off?
I can't just eat salads. Have you tasted my family's rundown? And what about the turtle meat?
These are common questions I hear from people when it comes to weight loss. Learn how to lead a healthier lifestyle, the one you desire, and successfully manage your weight with my proven step-by-step process and my new book, New Shoes, A Journey of Self-Discovery.
Working with Donna has helped me create a healthier lifestyle. Old habits are no longer a challenge. If you're looking for help in managing life, reducing weight, and maintaining a lifestyle that fits your wellness goals, Donna Mitchell is the coach you need.
New Shoes, A Journey of Self-Discovery has been tried and tested on hundreds of participants in the Cayman Islands and is available on Amazon and Kindle. Order your copy today. Visit inspiredwithdonna.com for more details.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
This year's National Heroes Day ceremony takes place on Monday, the 24th of January. Due to COVID-19 protocols, the event is not open to the general public. All Uniformed Services Award recipients are advised that no awards will be presented on Monday. Special ceremonies will be held at a later date for Uniformed Services recipients on Grand Cayman and in Cayman Brac. Monday's National Heroes Day ceremony will air live on Radio Cayman and on CIG TV's Facebook and YouTube pages beginning at 9 a.m. The bust of the Cayman Islands' newest national hero, the Honorable Leah Ross Shire, will be unveiled along with the theme for National Heroes Day 2023. For more information, email the protocol office on nationalevents@gov.ky or call 244-1780.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years,
so much has changed, some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
It's that time again to empty your coin jars and piggy banks. So Cayman, dig deep and give from the heart. Your loose change may not seem like much, but together as a community, we can use it to make a huge impact. Meals on Wheels is celebrating 25 years of serving the community, and you can help us to provide a hot meal to some of the most vulnerable members of our country, our seniors. And now, more than ever, we need your help to meet the increased demands. Whether it's Jangles or Foles, donate what you can when you see the Meals on Wheels volunteers stationed around Grand Cayman on January 28th and 29th. Join Cayman Islands Meals on Wheels, Davenport Development, and Radio Cayman in the fight to end senior hunger in the Cayman Islands. Visit www.mealsonwheels.ky or call 769-1974 to learn more.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. And if I might, just acknowledge, if you allow me, for whatever it's worth, just to say thanks. It may not be, of any significance, but it's a recognition, at least on my part, and I know on many others, that there is a great spirit of, community, of giving, of sharing, and for those of us who we do it in different ways, we do it constantly. For some, it's just a consistent effort on every particular day of the week at this particular time. You can almost set your clock by it. That person is doing this, whether it's tutoring a child or coaching, or whether it's assisting through some other initiative, maybe as part of a service club or other entity, the church or the community. We're doing things, and that's great. Sometimes it's the corporate entity that decides it's going to fund a particular thing. Now, I appreciate that many will say, well, they're doing it because there is some ulterior motive. Well, that's probably true. The PR that the company gets by doing this thing, or the person gets by, ratcheting up the resume or some other potential thing. But at the end of the day, the thing is being done, and if the thing that is being done is a worthy thing and should be done, and it gets done, maybe that should, mean something at the end of the day. Especially when the thing that is being done is a thing that helps people. Not that looking after plants or pets or other things aren't important, but if it's people, especially children and our elderly. Now, if you want to be a part of, the coin drive that Meals on Wheels, the change, for change coin drive that Meals on Wheels will be having next week, Friday and Saturday, well, visit their website and sign up, get involved, and assist. It's good that we have that level of time, to commit. Mealsonwheels.ky is it. And there are many of us who do things and we don't ask anybody, we don't tell anybody, we just know that there's something that is done. I'll give us an example. I've come to, if you would allow me to say, to grow very fond of something recently, and to see people, one in particular, give so graciously, investing in a young child, not just time and not just spending very meaningful quality time, socializing, instructing, guiding, nurturing, and loving. Now, that sometimes comes with expense, not just financial expense in terms of the treats and the interactions and the like, but the expense that is the greatest investment of all, right? Time. You're taking your time out of your Saturday or your Monday evening, or maybe multiple evenings, and you consistently sharing that. And I've gotten to witness recently an incredible sort of undertaking of investment of time, and has motivated me, and perhaps will do the same for you. And so we can do that. Maybe someone that's within the extended family or in a community, or it's through some other entity like Big Brothers Big Sisters, for instance, where you can partner up and genuinely give of yourself, not expecting anything in return, but you're giving of yourself. Now, all who volunteer would probably tell you that what they get back is unbelievable. Not just a great sense of feeling that they've done something meaningful, but a feeling of accomplishment, a sense of purpose that is almost, without measure. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. As we look at what is happening around the world, many of us would follow the politics in other jurisdictions. Perhaps that's because that's where we lived and worked. Maybe that's where we were born and raised. Sometimes it's because it's important for our businesses to know what is happening there. The question that we asked earlier, is there a noticeable seismic shift in our society from the way potentially we are being reconditioned and to respond to certain things, to the recognition that for at least the foreseeable future, potentially the source of goods and services can be interrupted. Take the construction sector. Are we able to get all the building materials that we need? Can we find the requisite labor that we need? Is that affecting not only the price of our finished product, but also the quality? And if that is the case, what will that do for us now and for our children and future generations? But beyond that very obvious, implication, what about our interactions? If we were to socialize as we did in the past and go about the space, well, there were many who would say that there wasn't that long ago where there was a defined, expected, accepted period of time after which the mother gave birth that the community would visit. And until that time elapsed, and interactions were limited. Now, is it the same over the last generation or so? And if so, not, well, why? Well, what about now? Is it that we are not necessarily valuing the importance of life as well as liberty? We're going to pause and take a short break. And when we come back, we invite you to give us a shout, toll free, or you can dial us on 949-8037 or 949-6990. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Due to the high number of COVID cases in the community, Water Authority Cayman is encouraging customers to conduct as much business as possible online or over the phone and avoid coming into the office. Need to pay a bill? You can do it online. Just visit our website, www.waterauthority.ky, and click on the Pay My Bill button. Are you experiencing service issues? Contact our customer service team via the phone on 949-2837 or email info@waterauthority.ky. Don't forget to practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently with soap and water. For updates from the Water Authority, visit our website, www.waterauthority.ky, and our social media pages.
Families are like branches on a tree. We grow in different directions, yet our roots remain deeply intertwined as one. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, has remained stable, strong, and deeply rooted in the community. The past 2 years have been very difficult, but they have taught all of us the value of family and embracing our loved ones. This 2022, Savannah Pharmacy encourages everyone to get in touch with your roots, embrace your heritage, show some extra love to your neighbor, and make the year a memorable one. Time is precious. Cherish it and those you love. Savannah Pharmacy, always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336 or WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
It's time to update your information. If you've recently changed your mailing address, phone number, or email address, please let your Water Authority customer service team know. Visit our website, www.waterauthority.ky, to download and fill out our customer information update form. Or contact our customer service team at info@waterauthority.ky or call 949-2837.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for joining us. It's open line now as we invite you to share your thoughts. 949-8037, 949-6990, or toll free if you so choose. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Peter Schmidt here. And
hey, Cap. Good afternoon. How are you today, sir?
Not bad, not bad. Doing some catching up on some paperwork and stuff. And Happy New Year to you. This is the first time we're talking this year, I believe.
I believe. You know what? That's a bad part of mine, man. I'm sorry about that. You have actually been in my thoughts a bit, man, and I realized that choosing between you and the company of a good woman, well, I wouldn't pick you, but don't feel bad.
Well, okay, I cannot argue with that.
Thank you.
Yes. It's good to have a little bit of levity.
Yeah, we have to.
Yes. I am actually calling to voice some concerns that are bothering me. And it has to do with some of the announcements that were made by elected representatives of our government recently, in particular the Minister of Finance, where he mentioned two things which disturbed me a bit. One being the proposal to go into a bullet fund of $400 million to address the social welfare programs that are growing in the islands. I am very concerned about that. We are saddling somebody 30 years from now, or from whenever we take that bond up, to cough up $400 million to pay back that bond, because my understanding is that the term bullet bond means it has to be paid back all at once.
That's certain, yes. Yeah.
in the intervening period, of the 30 years, I guess the interest would be due every year, whatever that may be. And that is a big thing to say to children today. Oh, by the way, by the time you're 30 years older than you are now, you will have to come up with $400 million. And the politicians that are in government today will no longer be there. And so I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about that because I do not think that we are addressing the problem that is causing our social cost to go up. If it was, if we were entering into a bond arrangement for some big infrastructure capital spending or something like that, like we want to do some really radical new measurement in terms of public transport or securing our shoreline for the future or renewable energy things to position ourselves well for the future, I'd have probably a slightly different feeling. I would think it would be a necessary evil, that you have to take up credit for those kind of things because the costs are just too high otherwise. So, but just to keep on paying welfare cost, that our system of taxation was never created to take care of that, at least not to the extent to which it has grown, and the problem that really bugs me is that I don't see any real measures being implemented to address it, to change it, to contain it, it seems like everybody that is in need can get everything they want, and I just don't see how anyone can continue doing that, and I don't think we can just go ahead and keep borrowing to keep everybody happy. I think it was one of the ministers earlier after election said that he wanted to look for methods to stop giving away free money. And I think that's a very admirable approach. I believe we are giving away a lot of free money. I have worked all my life. From the time that I remember that I was able to walk, I was doing something to earn some money. And I'm now in the 8th decade of my life. And I do not rely on any government resources for my upkeep. I've always knew that perhaps I would live to see the day that I'm seeing now. Amen. And consequently, I better make sure I have some kibbles and bits to look after myself and my family, when that time comes. Now, I am not here to say that, given the current rate of inflation, that I will have enough money until the day I die. I don't know if that's the case, because inflation is obviously something that can spin out of control if the wrong factors come together. But every day I drive by able-bodied people that are living off the monies of the people of Cayman, that the people of Cayman have given to the government to administer. And they don't think no two ways about it. They have absolutely no feeling that they should be contributing something to that, to their own welfare. They think it's the government's duty to take care of them. And, I can understand where we need to have provisions for more and more people that are in ill health, and people are perhaps living longer than on average than it used to be. So you will have, and as we said before, the cost of living is increasing. So you do have more people that their financial resources were inadequate. Some might have lost things, land and house and stuff like that. But I think we are still giving away a lot of free money, and I think we need to contain that to the extent possible. We need to be tougher with giving away free money. There has to be some kind of return. If you are saying to an able-bodied person, that yes, I'm going to give you whatever it is now, X amount to buy your necessities, you're going to have to do something for the people that are making that possible, which is the public of the Cayman Islands. And so I'm not happy about this bullet bond at all, because I think we have taken up other credits as well. And then, if I still have time, I go on to the other point, which is the reverse mortgages. As it stands, because of the cost of construction and real estate in general, for many younger Caymanians, the only way they'll ever own their own house is if they inherited from their parents. And if we start doing reverse mortgages, then by the time the old folks pass away, the house or the asset, whatever it was, the reverse mortgage was based on, will go to the person that advanced the money. And the family members will be without anything. I see them touting that all the time in other countries and so forth. And I'm not enthusiastic about it at all. So those were a couple of the points. I think we need to address the social problems we have, but address the problem, not put a Band-Aid on it and say, well, you guys that get elected in 8 years' time, you can deal with that. Let me not lose any votes over making a tough decision here.
Right. I appreciate you sharing that, because I had mentioned it a couple of times from a few people who, unlike you, and I said this to one in particular, hopefully it wasn't, as offensive as, it may have sounded. We need to speak up more, ask questions, and not hide behind little things, because we don't want to offend our friends, whether they're, politicians or otherwise. But a question that was asked, should a government, a duly elected government, be in a position to say, as this government has done, and the last one, we could take up $500 million and you would lend in, we can do a $400 million bullet bond. Should they be allowed to do that as has been the practice, or should there be some other level of approval or sanction beyond the elected government doing it the way it's been done to date?
Well, I totally agree with you, and I do believe in democracy, and in democracy the majority will rule, and I understand that, but there has to be accountability. There has to be accountability. You cannot, as is often done here, unfortunately, when somebody is no longer in office, you forgive them all the sins that they've done while they were in office. There has to be some repercussion that makes an elected member feel that their reputation, the personal esteem in which they're being held by the public is directly tied to their performance. And I thought that we had people that were going to run for elections, whether they won or not is immaterial, but they were offering their services to the country with the idea of doing the best for the country, not doing the best for self. Unfortunately, it seems, including this government, as soon as they got in, a lot of priorities shifted from what they were trumpeting during the campaign. The order of priorities was altered considerably, and you can see the print of that throughout the decisions that were taken. And I won't go into all of it, but I was severely disappointed in several instances of decisions that were taken and appointments that were made, which many people would, could not understand and could not believe that somebody pledging to do the best for the country would actually would support those kind of activities. And I think that is one of the somebody, in my opinion, one ought to be able to offer their services for government with the intention of doing the right thing. And if the constituents didn't like it, but it was still the right thing, like if you're a father of a family and you have to insist on discipline, even though the kids don't like it, hopefully they will respect you in the future.
And benefit from that counsel, that guidance, that direction, that discipline, right?
Exactly.
Right. Hey, thank you very much, and forgive me for not reaching out sooner, but please be receptive.
We're
honestly,
all busy.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunately an excuse that I've used, and it's probably not the best one, because we should be able to find time for those people that mean stuff to us. So, you are truly, truly a great man. Your wisdom and counsel and your public admonition has always been something that guided us. So, thank you for that, sir. And
you have a good day.
You too. Well, let's pause and take a break. We're going to take some other calls right after the news. Please stay tuned.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
A special drive-through testing clinic will be held tomorrow, January 20th, for COVID-19 positive persons and their unvaccinated household members currently in isolation or quarantine whom are eligible for early release. The clinic is taking place at Truman Bodden Sports Complex, parking lot opposite John Gray High School walking track. 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. for surname A to D, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. surname E to K, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. surname L to R, and 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. for surname S through Z. Persons attending the exit testing drive-through should enter Olympus Way via Walker's Road. You're asked to wear a mask and bring government ID showing date of birth. In international news, the Biden administration will begin making 400 million N95 masks available for free to U.S. residents starting next week, now that federal officials are emphasizing their better protection against the Omicron variant of COVID-19 over cloth face coverings. The White House announced Wednesday that the masks will come from the government's strategic national stockpile, which has more than 750 million of the highly protective masks on hand. 3 Indian Navy personnel were killed in an explosion on a ship at a naval dockyard in Mumbai on Tuesday, the Navy said. It gave no reason for the blast, but said a board of inquiry would investigate. The ship's crew responded immediately and quickly brought the situation under control. No major material damage has been reported, the Navy said in a statement. Major international airlines are canceling flights to the United States over aviation industry fears that 5G technology could interfere with crucial onboard instruments. But it's business as usual in Europe, where the latest generation of high-speed mobile networks is being rolled out without a hitch. The European Union Aviation Safety Agency told CNN Business on Wednesday the technical data received from EU manufacturers offers no conclusive evidence for immediate safety concerns at this time. Those are your latest headlines. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And thanks for joining us. It's open line as we go to the phones. Welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Ram speaking.
Hey, Ram. What's up, man? How are you today?
Excellent, brother. My name is evening in the morning to the nuts. I know it's done different there. What I call about this afternoon now. I try to use my distraction. All the callers online. I gotta recognize their different trait. Translate simplicity. Or I change leans when you merge, right? You change leans when you merge, right? in this turnpike, whatever. So in different level. The last caller mentioned the bullet bond, right? Always said that 3 decades, that 2052 henceforth, who gain or lose, we see. Okay? Expenditure. Okay?
All right, man.
But still, what about today now, my topic, my drive, right? My drive. Her topic, no. With Bermuda, with the controversy, with the UK, of the herb topic, the mentions of drug law, right? And do you know you're aware of that test, right? There's a prompt decision to condemn. And you're aware certainly that with Boris Johnson, the scandal, you bring your own drink. And you know United Kingdom is a boozing community, right? A boozing country. You have the booze. Nothing wrong with that, right? But certainly, here the beat now, into death now. Obviously, we are British Obviously, we are British defending sex. See? So, our politicians here currently, presently, or in the past, they always run their own things, installing things. And address the essay Sterling, right? I don't listen to Mr. Building wherever, but listen, it's a simplistic mind, I think, I think. The herb thing in mind is a Cayman aspect, future. Like I said, something enough for everyone. You still come from. So, whenever you have the psychiatrist, the head trick, the lawyer, and entrepreneur again, there's discussion. And that 3 times it repeats that for now. But, Sterling, like I said again, Cayman, we got for the coffee. We blessed now, this part of hemisphere, Sterling. Caymans, we are blessed differently. But, however, right, no excuse now, no cigarette butts, but however, we need to wake up and analyze it, stop, evil liver. That mind, like I say again, I was a fortnight, I'm mind the herb topic, and elsewhere, recognizing it, and accepting it, and apologizing, be apologetic towards it. We go on around, we go in the corner. You understand? The fund been done a long time. You understand? Years ago, people had legal compensate for again the fee. You understand? I spent 12 steps when I'm here, I died. And who do this? Do how to hello. And I know I can't my mother in my breast now. The way partial about something, I come towards it too. You know that too. In physical form, by the phone.
Yeah. All right, man.
Go ahead.
No, man, I was following you. I missed some, but as for the connection. But you are definitely been passionate about trying to push the topic, and we'll see where that takes us, and whether there's the will, and certainly that we do it properly, so it serves the interest,
And before you let me go, yesterday, right, if I recall, you talked about the age limit, right? So my philosophy, right? You're born there alone, nobody has on here. Right? The age is a number. You've been there, done that. That's my philosophy of life, for everyone. You understand? A part of a tunnel. But the age limitation, I understand. You have standards and principles. You suffer from. Like I said again, when you're 17 years old, right? You abide by the rule code. You learners. And hello, you prove that group. That's simple. And whatever examination you try to do, right? If it, tertiary or whatever, expand to that level. Very much on it. So we talk about I appreciate it whenever you get the 3 element there. We have a discussion. Then exclude all people now. Exclude all the people. Not include myself, but excluding them differently. See? No respect, man.
Respect, man. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for sharing more time.
Either.
All right, you see. Let's take the other caller. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Dwayne. Good afternoon to you. Hope you're well.
And to you, man. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to say with regards to that topic, where we're now looking for a $400 million bond to basically pacify a lot of social services. That's a bit unfair on the heads of the unborn children of this country, the citizens, because they're going to be the one bear that brunt. I've said it for so many years that they call me everything in the book and blacklist me and did everything to me they could do, because I said we need to stop giving all these new citizens access to social services and the abundance of all their dependents. Because as we have seen, and they won't come out and tell you, but it is definitely known. The minute certain people or some people who get their citizenship, they go in with their dependents, they go bring them here, bring everybody in the family here, and everybody then immediately is on NAU getting assistance for all these individuals that their current salaries cannot pacify caring for. That's unfair to this country. And don't tell me that it ain't so, because I have proof of that. And anybody can FOI it. My point is we need to change the laws of this country, fix them because they're so broken, and put in there, once you receive citizenship in the Cayman Islands, you can't tap into any of the social services systems for 10 years unless it's in a grave situation. You understand where I'm coming? Your house burned down, you didn't have insurance, or we had a hurricane, you didn't have insurance, things like that. You can then tap into assistance for that. But there are people just tapping into it for the sake of tapping into it. And because there's no proper protocols in place to say, well, I'm sorry, you don't qualify now. You had a job and you got your papers. You put the application in. It said you were employed. You gave employment letter, proof that you are currently working in this country. How come you not got a job a week after you got your status? These are the things where there's no additional backup systems to go and look at the situations of why this is happening, why it's happening so often, what is causing it to happen, who is trying to defraud the system, and we've had them. We know that. We've had them, and they're there to this day still defrauding the system because, again, Sterling, there is no proper enforcement of when we dish something out. There's no enforcement after that to go along with it. Look at the stupidness with the Ford or something that they revoke PR for. I have an FOI with 400 on it, so please tell me why they're not on that list either. Why did we forgive them for what they did? Are we turning a blind eye to them? I mean, we cannot continue to expect our country to be growing in leaps and bounds and being this modern society, and all our bells and whistles are lined up, and Governor Roper talking out one side of him out about the country is this and this is wonderful and that and the other, with all these broken systems piled up on the sidelines that nobody seems to want to get into and challenge or get into and fix the challenges of it, because it's not part of their job. Make it part of their job, or create a whole new commission to deal with that, put people there to work it from the clerk right through to the head of the commission, but get things organized in this country. We can't say we're moving our country forward, being modern, when we're not cleaning up the messes we're leaving behind from the stupid, cumbersome, draconian laws that we have in place that we're not even trying to fix. And don't try to ask us to fix a law. It takes years. Why is that even so, Dwayne? A law that has a broken clause or section of it that's causing disruption in our societal fabric or in our civil fabric of putting out services from our government. Why are we not addressing that right away, fixing it and getting all the stupidness, all the penalties? Because we got so many laws with some of the most draconian penalties attached to them that it makes us look like we're more idiots out here in the Caribbean than we're supposed to be the smart, brilliant society that we say we are. And I'm sorry, but we have to stop now trying to move this country forward before we fix all the issues before we try to move this country forward. We can't move forward, Dwayne. And if we're going to move forward, we're going to move forward like on a broken riding a bicycle with no wheels. How are we going to get forward? And that's exactly how this country is right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope
you
you're
for
well.
sure. I am.
Take care.
And you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's take this other caller. Welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling. How are you?
Very well, Mom. How about you?
Not too bad. I just want to take my hat off to Mr. Peter
Mm-hmm.
and Ms. Tibbetts Jester I mean, I'll tell you, if some of the government people will listen to some of the things that they're saying, probably we might be in a better place today than we are right now. Because then I tell you one thing, I don't know where our children are behaving in the future when it comes to all of this that is going on. And you can't have anything being fixed to support the few Caymanians that is left. No disrespect to anyone who has a Cayman piece of paper stating they're Caymanians. And she's exactly right. They come here and they get married and they bring their children. The first place to go to need assessment. And then when a Caymanian go to need assessment, they're born and bred here, work here, now hitting hard times. We've told that, oh, well, you know this and you know that, and you're not qualified, and yakety-yak. Well, I just want to say to this, Sterling, that I just turned 65 August gone, and I don't know how much longer I'll be working, and then how long my eyes will be open, but I can guarantee you the day that I'm out of a job, I am going to sit on that need assessment door because I feel like I have did my duties for this place I call home on the Cayman Islands. I've been working at a 9.9% of myself. Just like Mr. Peter said that he was working when he was a small child. That makes two of us.
Mm-hmm.
When I didn't know how to make a cake, I was making a cake. When I didn't know how to clean a house, I was cleaning a house. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So something need to be done. What's going to happen to our generation that's going to be left behind? And I tell you, Sterling, I would love to live to see what Cayman would be in the next 30 years, which I know I won't. But I wish I could live to see what it's all about. I know the siblings would like to do it too, and many more, and Mr. Peter and many more, because we are keep going in the wrong direction for no simple reason. They keep forgetting the few Caymanians, and even though they may have people who's registered to vote now, and their votes are getting bigger now in various districts and so forth. And I guess they're saying, oh, we don't need a few Caymanians who vote no more because we're getting the majority now from those that have Cayman papers and yakety-yak. Well, I tell you what, you see that God up is out there, he don't sleep, he don't slumber. So we just let him in his hands. Sterling,
yes, ma'am.
You have a great day. Thank you.
No, thank you too for sharing that. And to our listeners, I believe it's the final break, but we want to hear from you. So please join us after the break.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in, and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert, available for limited time at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. The ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom. The land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza, open Monday to Friday 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Now open on the sister island, Brack Medical Supplies. Located at 403 Gerard Smith Avenue, next to the Alexander Hotel. Open Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Telephone number 948-2228. Brack Medical Supplies.
It's that time to be a part of the change. The Meals on Wheels Change for Change coin drive needs you to volunteer to raise much needed funds to support our service to the community. Over 300 volunteers are needed and all ages are welcome. If you can volunteer 2 hours of your time, hold a bucket, smile behind your mask, and give a support sticker, you can volunteer. Families, individuals, civic groups, students, and companies can all pitch in to give back to this important effort. Join forces with Cayman Islands Meals on Wheels, Davenport Development, and Radio Cayman in the fight to end senior hunger in the Cayman Islands. Volunteer today by logging on to www.mealsonwheels.ky or by calling 769-1974.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us as we go straight to the phones. Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Green. I'm good, man. And yourself?
Blessed. Very, very thankful. I'm glad to hear from you.
Yes, sir. We have to be thankful in the place we are in these days.
Amen. Amen.
Well, I just called in and chime in, and the caller before last, the lady from the grass, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you see, we have a mentality here that they keep on saying that we forget so quickly, you know. But I want to chime in to help her out to let the people understand what she was trying to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we take everything for granted that we have until we don't have it. Okay, I sure say from when you were born and when I was born until we were 18, we didn't have to have a hospital bill or have to have insurance. That's for the Caymanians, right?
Mm.
And what happened to that system? It was overrun by what? Nobody paying attention to what was happening, so they let every Tom, Dick, and Harry who came here use our system that was only for us. And now that system got overrun. By the time you think about conceiving or conception, you better have insurance. So there's no incentive for the Caymanian there. Again, that's gone. And that was when we were trying to build a population that we didn't have. Okay, we destroyed that. Now we're letting everybody in, yes. Okay, you pay for the residency and you say that you have a job, as she was alluding to. About a week after, you don't have a job, but yet you're going to NAU and you're using up the services of this small little island. So the people who are from the island who really need it can't even get to use the services anymore because it's so dwindled out, so watered down. So when are we going to wake up and fight for our own and try to keep something Caymanian? But everything is say Caymanian, they say, oh, you're anti-this and anti-that. You're anti-expat. No, I'm anti-nothing. I am pro-Caymanian, though. If I don't fight for whom, who am I going to fight for?
If I may ask, because I recognize that there are those who are listening would think, oh, that's something that's only happening in Cayman. But if you...
No, worldwide.
But if you would just open your eyes, you realize that in every country. But then, let me ask, cognizant that that's what's happening globally, and that sort of potential unrest could lead to significant conflict, that could lead to war, civil unrest, all sorts of things. So if in the Cayman context, and we have people who divide themselves because they assign labels, I don't want to be in that group because I'm over here. Is there a way, and if this is idealistic or naive, let me know, or if it's a goal that is lofty that we should pursue, likewise let me know. But is there a way that we can bring a stronger sense of unity so that irrespective if you're the person who can trace the ancestral roots back generations, or you're the person for whom you just the recent recipient of PR or status, and you want this to be your home, your bread and butter, where you want to lay your head and bury your remains, is there a way to bring us together to understand that we got to row this clapboard together?
Well, I can put it this way. The key word in that you just said, the whole sentence, the whole statement was unity.
Mm-hmm. So how do we do that?
They have done what the Romans have done to the world for a long time, divide and conquer.
Mm.
And when you divide up people so much against and put them against each other, how do they come back together?
Right.
Because if you realize, we're talking about our demographic, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the only place in the whole Caribbean that I can think about that we have no unity.
Why is that?
Because they have divided us so much. Okay, even look at our legislation.
Mm-hmm.
It turned from 4 to 5 to 19 for the same island that is 76 square miles.
Yeah.
So what can 19 do that the 4 could not have done?
Right. I'm glad you referenced
That's
that.
the crazy part about it.
So what do we do about that? Because if you ask most people, they don't like that. They don't like the way this thing has been. And
No.
if, but we sit down and take it. So if we don't like it, what are we doing about it? Are we saying anything publicly? Are we doing anything to try to address it? What are we doing about it?
Well, I sow the seed on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
and as much as I can sow the seed, and now I sow the seed on a on an international basis by talking to you and telling you this.
Mm-hmm.
I've always advocated for,
a national vote.
Small, I could live in East End and I could vote for somebody in West Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that's the best person for my island.
Mm-hmm.
Me at 45 years old, almost 46 this year, I've never voted. The reason being is the people that they keep on giving me to vote for.
Mm-hmm. Are you registered to vote? Are you registered to vote?
100%.
Okay.
Years ago.
Yeah. And you've referenced that before, so I understand that should be the answer, right? The reason why I said it is that you made a conscious choice, but you have, because you're registered, you have that choice. There are many of us who choose not to register and wish on that day that we would go out for whatever reason, right? Even if it's just
need somebody of quality in my neighborhood.
Right.
That I could think about, or I could see somebody who has been working with the people.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for a job that come in and come for a job and because you don't get the job, you disappear.
Mm-hmm.
No. Those are the people I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for that person who was there from before the job was even offered.
Right. So let me ask then. Let's say me, you, or somebody else, right? Whoever, right? Sets about to say, listen, we don't like this divide. We want to build up the country. We want to show more love and unity. And we're going to do it this way. Let's say address the issue that you shared. Why are we voting the way we vote? We need to consider a different system. Why are we doing it this way as opposed to that? It's one person, it's two, it's five, it's maybe 10. Two questions. How receptive do you think the rest of us will be to that?
Remember, the key word is unity. We don't have that.
Okay. So the second question is, right? You see the challenges. We see what may happen. So despite that, the handful of people, the 1 person, the 2, the 10, decide that they're going to press on to do it. All right? Now, do you think we have the 1, the 2, the 10 that would be courageous enough to speak to a word that one of our callers references all the time? Have to have courage.
Well, I'll tell you this. I can speak on that right now.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we do have the 5, the 10, we have even 50
mm-hmm.
of those courageous people.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? We have stolen the voice because they do not have the material wealth or the material for anybody to listen.
Mm.
That's the thing. It's not a moral thing anymore,
It's money.
Because I can talk about some immoral acts that they have made laws.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about morality anymore. So we could throw out the Christian thing and throw out all this craziness.
Right.
It's about material.
Yeah.
Whoever holds the material, that's the one with the power of speech and direction of the country or
Right.
any countries. Look at Big Pharma.
Yeah.
Come on. It's the truth, but this is the naked truth that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
Somebody is paying for the direction of what is happening.
Yeah. So he who pays the piper calls the tune.
Benefiting also.
Mm. Yeah, man. If it's okay to publicly ask you, before you disconnect, give the fella a number that I can call you on. I want to ask you something, but I would like to do so off air first.
Definitely.
All right. So don't disconnect. Just give him.
No. I'll hold it up.
All right. But before you go, anything else you want to share with us publicly?
Yes. I pray for my people.
Okay. Man.
And like I tell the people, I'm not anti anything because I love the people Caymanian more than the Cayman itself because they're the real fighters now.
Mm.
Because they come from a place that they do not want to see happen here. So they fight for this place more than my own people. So I love you for that. So I just beg my people to follow the lead and try to unite and fight as one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what unity stands for, Unite to stand as one group.
Mm-hmm.
And make one voice and make it be heard. Make the politicians, them who we vote for year after year and fool us year after year, do something now for us.
Yeah, man. This is it. Unity, right?
Unity, that's all it is. That's all it takes. Unity.
Yeah, man. Well, we're on the same card, Latin says, e pluribus unum. And we need to look at that because it doesn't mean that we won't disagree. It means that we are respectful and loving, and considerate of each other, right?
We can agree to disagree.
There we go, my friend. All right, please give him the number, and I will shout you. You'll be the third call after the show. All right?
I definitely will.
All right. Paul, take that call. Blessings to you, man. You do the same. And this is the last call, perhaps. I don't know. Good afternoon. Welcome. Nope. they say sometimes, you just never get to that thing. You ever feel like you're at the airport, but you should have been, still at home, or you may have needed to catch something, but you were in the wrong place. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Hey, may I say good afternoon, young lady? How are you?
Good. I am just trying to follow up on the cemetery at Spots. Have you heard anything for what we talked about the other day?
I haven't heard anything further, and I actually want to ask someone something similar in relation to something else. So I've made a note, and I will do that. That's the second thing on my list after the show today.
Yes, because I heard Mr. O'Connor on the show last week was given one of the people there to get some information to get back to him, but unfortunately no one has called back or say anything, and whatever needs to be done, it needs to be done. I mean, as they were saying, it is so many people that is hated this thing, and no one wants to come out and speak. And if anyone that is know that him or her is in charge of the cemetery, they need to come on the radio and identify themselves, so we together from the people up this way can definitely know what we have to do. Because if someone is in charge of the cemetery, and we would like to know who it is, because the big officials won't come out and say who is in charge or anything, and we definitely need to get that road changed. Because, as I said, it's very dangerous, and something is about to happen, and we would not like anything there to happen. So we need to see whoever he or she is responsible for the cemetery in Spots. She needs to come on the talk show and identify herself and let us know what is happening, and if we can work with him or her, whoever it is, or whichever committee is there. So we need to get something done, because someone has to be in charge of the Spots Cemetery.
Okay. Well, I'm making a note as we speak. And trying to figure out now. I'll make an inquiry so I can do that likewise, because I think I know where to turn for that. My question: once I get that done, can I put them on to you?
No, she can come on the radio. Him or her can come on the radio, and then the people from here can, ask her questions, and we need to know what is going to happen, because something definitely has to happen.
Okay.
We have to just move that gate and put it on the side from the parking.
Okay.
No joke about it. It has to be moved.
All right. Well.
So he or she, whoever the committee is, needs to come on and address herself and let us know who is in charge, because all we can hear was under this one, it was under that one, and apparently no one knows who is in charge now. So we would like to know. I know plenty of them in the government is listening, but they're just sitting down collecting the pay, and they don't want to come and do the work. So we need some action.
Okay. Well, we think we may have a call online now that could address something. Hopefully that's the case.
It's about time. If it's a caller, I'll give her time to address the call. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mom. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful afternoon. Let's take this call. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling Dwayne.
Good afternoon. How are you, man?
Very good. I don't think the lady was listening on Monday to OC's show.
Mm-hmm.
Because both him and I'm the person that was asked by OC as well to look into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, and it is, the park and recreational, we call it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And OC himself also spoke with the individual from that department, and they said they're looking into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being addressed.
All right. Quickly, I don't want to belabor it, but so just in case people are just joining in, the issue, in a nutshell, the call reference the gate in the road. What is it that we want to address?
It's the entrance to the Spot Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
With the proximity of the road, it's like, I gotta exaggerate a bit. It's like 6 inches away from Victor. It's more like 2 feet.
It's very close to the road. Yeah.
Very, very close to the road, and like I spoke up in voice as well. When you have people that are mourning, going to the cemetery with the hearse and so forth, they're not paying attention to the traffic on the road.
Right.
and it is very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And it was addressed to their Parks and Recreational Authority. And they're looking into having it done, as quickly as possible. Not sure how quickly that will be, but there is area in the driveway, I would call the driveway, or the beach access, that the new entrance can be facilitated.
All right, man. Well, I certainly will look into it as well as you are, and Mr. O.C., and we can see where we're getting. Okay?
Yeah. All right.
All right. Appreciate you sharing that, man. Yeah. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. All right. And with that, if today is today, and God's willing, we get a chance to be a part of tomorrow, we invite you to join us for more talk today right after the midday news and midday meditation. As you go about the space and place, actively, constructively, deliberately, and diligently, see if your contribution is as positive and productive as it can be. Don't neglect to improve yourselves, but in the process, let it not be at the backs of others. When you stand on someone's shoulder to get to the top, you reach down a hand to pull them up as well. When we look at the important things in life, let's look at our wellness as well. And that time to rest, relax, and rejuvenate is important, just as it is that we spend in ourselves in determined discipline effort to pass an exam, to excel at work, to ensure that we do a concerted effort when we exercise. We want to build the mind, the spirit, and the body. But to socialize and to interact, to share responsibly in a libation, as well as to, serve a nice bowl of fish tea. All very important in the quality of life in which we lead. So be that example, because we stand for right. We champion, the good things, and we work together to make it better. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village.